Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how-to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show. Today I have a young lady who decided to follow her traveling dreams. Her thinking and action centered to Japan. Since living in Japan, she has traveled to many countries throughout Asia. Today, we are lucky to have Ms.Sevalay Matthews on the show. Welcome to Global Insider, Sevaly.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm tired.
I'm sure you have been working really hard and that is why you're tired.
Yes, that is exactly why I'm tired.
Okay, fantastic. Where are you? Where are you now? As in
I'm
country.
in Sapporo, Japan.
Sapporo,
So
Japan.
Yep.
So, where in Japan is that? Is that in the south, the north, the east, the west?
It's the northernmost island in Japan. So Hokkaido, yeah. So I'm way up top where it's always nice and cold.
Nice and cold. Wow. I mean, you like the cold weather?
I'm used to it. I wouldn't say I like it. I'm just used to it. I know how to handle the cold weather.
So do you go skiing and that type of thing?
No, I'm not into winter sports at all. I've tried skiing once. It went, terribly wrong. But I did it to say I tried it, but I won't do it again. And winter sports are just not for me.
So we can definitely say that you will not be making the Jamaican bobsled team then.
Exactly.
All
They
right.
don't need me on their team.
All right, great. All right, so is Japan home now?
Yes, it is. It has been for the past 6 years.
All right, what is so good about Japan? What do you like about Japan?
Generally, it's pretty safe. That's the main reason. That's what I like the most. For the most part, people are generally courteous and nice to you, especially in my area. There's some parts of Japan, well, everywhere in the world you'll go, and people aren't exactly, welcoming, but in my community and after living in Sapporo for so long, it's home. I'm just comfortable.
Okay, good. That sounds great. How did you get to Japan? Like, what was the process like for you to go to Japan? How did you hear about it even?
Funny story, actually, it was my last semester in college, and a friend and I guess when you're like at that point in university and you're thinking about what you're going to do with your lives, most of us don't get to think about what we really wanted to study in university, and like you just go ahead and you study something, which I think is what happened to me.
What did
Didn't
you
really
study?
give it much thought. I did management studies.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, yeah.
I guess maybe it wouldn't have been my first choice, but that's what I did. And we were talking and we're like, what are we going to do? It's our final semester in college. And she told me that she heard about a program where you can teach English in Japan. And then we went onto my computer and started, researching. She put me in contact with one of her friends here in Japan who did the same program. I asked her a bunch of questions. I applied. And then things just started happening quite quickly. And here I am 6 years later.
Wow, time does fly. Time does fly.
It does.
Do they still do that? Is that program still available?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. What is the name of the program, if you don't mind saying?
Well, it's with a private company, so I work for Interact Company Limited. They dispatch ALTs all over Japan.
Okay.
So all you need to do is type in Interact Company Limited in Google, and everything will pop up.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you like it there? Like, do you like it with the company and with in Japan?
Yes, I do. I've had no problems working with this company for the past 6 years. But everyone's experience is different, so I can only speak for myself and what I've experienced, which, yeah,
Nice.
I haven't had any problems.
Great. Since moving to Japan, how many other countries have you traveled to?
I do not have an exact number, but I have been to several countries all over Asia.
Do you mind telling us the names?
From what I can remember, I've been to Cambodia twice, Malaysia, Singapore twice. I've been to Thailand. Where else have I been? Vietnam. That's all I can remember right now.
Good.
I said Singapore already.
You did say Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore
Okay.
twice.
South Korea as well. Twice.
So let me ask this then. Is it easy to travel from Japan to those countries?
It is quite easy. Much easier than it would have been if I was back in Jamaica. So much easier.
Okay, I'm figuring it's more like how Jamaicans would travel from Jamaica to Miami, something like that.
Yes, it is. And the ticket prices are reasonable. And you also have to you can't be too picky, because for me, I will give up a little bit of comfort. So I will also travel with the low-cost carriers as well. Some people, if it's a Asian country that's a bit further from Japan, maybe I'll, choose an airline that's more comfortable. But if it's close to Japan, like South Korea, then like a low-cost carrier is fine with me.
Okay.
Which they're way cheaper, yeah.
All right, so that's something like a Spirit airline, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
good.
Exactly.
Which is your favorite and why? Which country you visited is your favorite?
Cambodia.
Cambodia. Why? Why Cambodia? Because when you say Cambodia, I mean, there are many things come to mind, and I mean, I would get into that right now. But yes, please go ahead.
There was something about Cambodia. Both times I've been there, it's kind of hard to explain. Maybe it was more like I don't want to say spiritual, but it kind of felt that way. Like, so, with everyone that I met, they were just so welcoming, so genuine. And I made a really good friend the first time I went to Cambodia, and I was only there for like 3 days.
Okay.
And we've still been in contact ever since that time. Like, we talk all the time.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there are a lot of strange food in these countries. What is the strangest thing you have had?
Strangest thing I've ever had. I had fried crickets. I wouldn't say that's that strange, but I had fried crickets.
That's very, very strange. But
it was quite delicious. It tasted like deep fried shrimp.
Okay. I mean, your friends will be hearing this podcast, so I don't know.
Well, they know that I've tried crickets, and I really want to try scorpion, but yes. It wasn't available when I visited Cambodia that time. It wasn't in season. That's what they told me.
It wasn't in season. The scorpions weren't in season. Wow.
That's what I was told.
Wow. No. Many persons want to live a life of travel and adventure, but they are fearful. Uh-huh. What would you say to these people? How can they reduce their fears?
My only advice for is just face your fears. Anything that I'm fearful of, I try to just face it. I'm afraid of heights, but most people will think the opposite, because I keep climbing mountains. I go hiking all the time. I go on the biggest roller coaster in every theme park I've ever been to, and I am actually terrified of heights. So it's just making steps towards overcoming your fears is the only advice I have for that.
Okay, that
Just
sounds.
putting yourself out there.
So that's how you ended up eating the crickets. You faced your fears.
Yeah, there were cockroaches and other things, a bunch of bugs that were at the market, and I went for the crickets.
All I
Next
have
time I'll go.
all I have to
And
say is that it's a good thing that this is a podcast and not a TV show or something because my face was a while ago.
I'll send you
Um,
a picture of the crickets.
sure, please do. I will share them somewhere somehow. Where do you usually stay when you travel? In a hotel, hostels, or with friends, or maybe with some maybe
Uh,
Airbnb?
I've never really used Airbnb, but most of my traveler friends says it's a good option. So maybe the next time I travel, I'll use it. Uh, I use hotels and hostels. It also depends on who I'm traveling with and what their preferences are, because I have different friends that I might travel with, and they may not be open to staying in hostels.
Okay.
But I am not very picky.
Wow.
I just need the place to be clean.
But which is your favorite though? Like where have you had your best experience, your best travel experience? Was it in a hotel or in a hostel?
I would have to say a hostel because I always meet people from all over the world in hostels, and I've made really good friends staying in hostels as well. So I think I prefer staying in hostels.
Not to put you on the spot, but could you share an experience, like one of your best experiences that you have had in a
In a
hostel?
hostel? Whoa. The first hostel I've ever stayed in was actually in South Korea. That trip was my first year in Japan as well. And I went with a couple of friends. The owner of the hostel was a really, really nice man. And we booked to stay in a tent on the roof.
Wow.
But when we got to South Korea, we didn't expect the heat that was there. It was very humid, and he arranged for us to stay inside instead, where it was cool and nice. And I think that year as well, I met like quite a few people from all over the world. Didn't really keep in contact, but in the daytime we would hang out, like do different sightseeing activities together and stuff like that. So for that time, it was really nice.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a very good experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Nice. I like that. And
Hmm.
tell me about a challenging time. Like, I mean, because I'm thinking traveling from in throughout these countries you must face some sort of challenge. I mean, whether it be I don't want to prompt you, but what were your challenges?
Uh, I'm quite flexible. I would like to pride myself on being flexible, and I can adapt quickly when I'm put in certain situations. So I I can't really pinpoint any challenges that I've had because language wise, most of these places are used to having tourists. So a lot of the people can speak English enough to help you get around, get what you need. So language wasn't a barrier. I'm not picky when it comes to food. I will try almost anything. So even if I have a breakout the following day, that's fine.
Okay.
Uh, the only challenge I had while trying to get to somewhere from here was applying for a visa to get to Thailand. So as a Jamaican, the paperwork was quite hefty.
Okay.
That is the only, but well worth it. So not to discourage anyone that might want to go to Thailand. It's quite a bit of paperwork, but it's worth it.
Okay, good. So I mean, so basically your Jamaican passport doesn't really stop you from traveling like that throughout
It
Asia.
it does it doesn't. There are lots of Asian countries that we can actually visit as Jamaicans without needing a visa.
Can you recall any at this time?
Yes, we can go to Hong Kong without needing a visa. We can visit Singapore without a visa, Malaysia. Most recently, I think maybe 3 years ago, we are allowed access to Indonesia without needing a visa as well. And there are also a few countries where visa on arrival is allowed. So Cambodia is one of those countries where you just go, and when you get to immigration, they give you a visa, which is $30 US.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds very good. So, Sevaly, if you could talk to your 15-year-old self about traveling, what would you say to her?
Just keep on the same path, because it worked out eventually.
I like that answer.
Yeah, because I mean, I got in going back before I was 15, I got into a lot of trouble for exploring without my mother's permission.
What you're trying to tell me that you used to get lost in the parks a lot?
Not lost. I would go off to places beyond home on my little field trips.
Really?
Yes, and then I would eventually make my way back home and get a nice hiding for, wandering off.
Yes, so what you're trying to say, you were Dora before Dora.
Exactly. I was Sevi the Explorer.
Well, you know what? I'm very happy that you're able to do the traveling that you are doing right now, because, I mean, obviously as a little girl you had those aspirations, so I'm very, very happy for that. Because so many persons want to do these things, but, for whatever reasons, they put a mind block up and they just stay there. They just stay in one place and they never do anything, And as we know that if you think about something without trying, I mean, it's just the same as not doing. So
right.
So definitely, I mean, I congratulate you on being brave and being brave with all the food that you're being brave with. I mean, I don't grudge you with that one at all, and I will not be joining you. But
I'm gonna send you a special package.
But what I'll say though is, by the way, is there any food that you won't try?
No. I will try almost anything at least once.
There's an
if it's brought
almost
to me.
The almost. What is the almost for?
Okay, all right. I think the only thing I will not try is the cockroaches. When you think about a cockroach.
But what's the big difference between a cockroach and a cricket, though?
I think there's a big difference. Cockroaches are just gross.
Okay, all right. I agree with you. So, thank you so much again for coming on the show. How can people reach you if they would like to get in touch with you?
They can reach me at Sevywevy on Instagram. So it's SEVYWEVY. That's my Instagram name.
Fantastic. So Sevywevy on Instagram. Great. Sevaly,
that's right.
Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You are welcome. It was my pleasure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.